Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the 2017 DreamHack Austin Hearthstone Grand Prix. I'm TJ, joined on the desk by Noxious and Cora, and we're about to jump into round number 5.
We are.
Of the Swiss. We're getting through some Hearthstone today, and Dan is off camera riding a dinosaur.
He's having fun. Yep. Great fun.
Him.
What was that dinosaur?
That's a Danosaurus.
It's a Danosaurus
Well
Rex,
done.
Noxious.
A Frodanosaurus.
You didn't recognize that one by the hair color?
That's exactly what that is.
I mean, it changes all the time. Is it like a chameleon thing?
It can adapt.
Oh, wow. I see. Frodanosaurus just adapts.
So we just had Chalky and Amnesiac on the desk. I don't know if you guys got a chance to see that.
Do we get to play hate to see it or love to see it now?
No.
Oh.
I'm retiring that game.
It's done?
One and done.
It is done. It is done, so. But Noxious, how have you been enjoying so far?
Been good, man. I'm kind of happy I get the cast like 2 series from the same player. We got Reynad coming up next.
Yeah.
Technically, if everything goes well. So, I mean, Taunt Warrior, hopefully he doesn't 3-0 with that again. I mean, hoping for him, yes, but I'd like to see some other decks from him. I haven't seen anything else from him yet, so.
Yeah. Cora, you've been enjoying yourself, having fun at the DreamHack Austin Grand Prix?
Yeah, of course. It's great to get to meet new people and see all the faces out there having a great time. So I got a chance
Some of them having a great time.
Some of them are having a worse time than others. But
Yeah.
I got a chance to wander around a little bit in the break. It's been a blast so far.
Amnesiac's 3-1, which is pretty good score, and he's pissed.
That one loss is not acceptable.
Yeah.
Savage doesn't like it.
He could be 0-3 like some players out there. Get kind of bummed out to learn that Cydonia is 0-3.
Yep.
Spoke to him about the lineup and everything before we came over, and he said, you know, I'll bring aggro decks and I'll target rogue. It turns out some players are just not bringing rogues.
Yeah.
And rogues, even though you target them, sometimes just do degenerate things anyway.
Yeah,
Yeah,
including
that's true.
two of the guys that I just had on the desk, Chalky and Amnesiac. They sort of practiced it a little bit. They both didn't bring rogue.
Yeah, and actually I think there's like 4 different strategies now in the tournament, so
Yeah.
it's very early in the meta game, so that probably has a lot to do with that.
A lot of different variations of each of those strategies as well, so it'll be interesting to see. But talking a little bit about the next matchup that's going to happen, Reynad versus Dog. Both these guys, 4-0. I had to think. I was like 5-0. Oh no, 4-0.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I get an R? And an U?
Can I get an R?
And an R?
Can I get an E? Can I get another E?
Where
an N?
Where are you going with that?
I think he's spelling Reynad.
Yeah, Reynad.
Or Reynad in this case.
Reynad, I see.
I think it's...
Were you spelling Ruru?
That's how you spell it,
I was spelling Ruru. I was going for Ruru. He's just like Reynad.
Yeah.
Ruru.
They both start with R. It's impossible to know which one you were going for.
Ru.
Yeah.
That's all I have.
Cool.
2 of the prettiest Hearthstone players in one match. How's the world going to be able to handle it, TJ?
Did Reynad ever take his shirt off is the question, because I know that Dog never did. Dog never does.
It's going to cut to the camera, both of them sitting down, and just both shirtless.
Just completely.
That's the last time we ever casted a DreamHack.
Yeah.
Especially the last.
Yeah. Especially since I left my lanyard on, if anybody noticed.
Oh, I did that earlier, too. Just unfortunately caught me while I was feverishly taking it off.
Well, you've been hired for your professionalism, TJ.
But there you go. Those Reynad and Dog both getting set up. Both veterans of the Hearthstone scene in their own right for different reasons, but ultimately they both made big names for themselves streaming. And Reynad, of course, also has the whole owning a team thing going on. But there's Dog. No skeleton behind him this time around.
Yeah, so he's running the Paladin Priest Warrior, which I assume it means that he's running like a more of a control lineup, as we've seen happen before, without the Pirate Warrior instead of going for the Taunt Warrior. Reynad on the other side, something a little bit different. You know, he has the Taunt Warrior, I assume the Mage and Druid. I mean, they could both be very different. There's possibility for a J Druid on the more control-y side, Freeze Mage, or the Value Mage on the Mage side. So.
I was watching Dog play earlier. It is he's running J Druid. I'm not sure about Reynad, but I was actually watching Dog play against, I believe it was Yoet's Flow earlier on in the day, and he was playing J Druid. So, it was Jade. Spoilers.
Jade is good.
Actually, I don't know if it was Jade, but it had Gadget Auctioneer and Earth and Scale, so I imagine it was Jade.
It could have been a Ramp, I guess.
No, it had a Jade Spirit. It had a Jade Spirit.
Okay, probably Jade then.
Yeah. But the match is about to begin. As you can see, they're almost ready. So predictions quickly. Noxious, who's going to win, Reynad or Dog?
Papa Dad? Papa Reynad.
Papa Reynad.
I'm going to give my bid to Dog. I'll have a little diversity on this desk for the next match.
That's good. Cool. Last time we were very much on the same side.
But we were right.
Yes.
Which was important.
Yeah.
We got that one right.
The only thing that matters.
Yeah. I'm not going to break that tie. I'm going to let these guys decide it with their games. But round number 5 is about to get underway. Dog versus Reynad coming right up.
right, we're back with Swiss round number 5. It's going to be Dog versus Reynad. We saw Reynad earlier today, 3-0 with the Quest Warrior. It was probably the longest 3-0 series that I think I've ever seen because all of the games were just control mirrors.
And he also, I want to say, like, he did win 3-0, but based on the first game that he had, it didn't look that way at all. Initially, he was mirror match control warrior.
Yeah.
Well, let's say taunt warrior. It's not quite a control deck the way that we're used to, but he was on the cusp of losing the game due to not drawing the taunts at the right time, not getting the quest first, but he still ended up making it out alive. Now, he's going to face off against Dog with the taunt warrior as well, so they're both on the same game plan. And if Reynad has any info as to what this is, he's going to keep the quest, and so will Dog. Sometimes against Pirate Warrior, we'll consider mulliganing away, as you have a higher chance of getting the work done. And Dog starts with the Fire Plume's Heart. No big difference there. We're still looking for card draw. We're looking for taunts here. So we've spoken a little bit about that earlier, but it comes down to who completes the quest first.
It absolutely does. Sulfurous is the name of the game for the Taunt Warriors. We do see some slight deck differences between Reynad and Dog. Of course, the decks are not public, so the players may have an idea of what they're up against, but they don't know card for card what their opponent is playing. So Battle Rage for Reynad instead of the Acolyte of Pain, Dog going with the Acolyte of Pain instead of Battle Rage. So slight differences may not make too much of a difference in this matchup, but important to note, they're not playing the same list.
Yeah, and Dog here finding one of the... I mean, the Dark Creeper here for Reynad is amazing to defend against the Acolyte, but the Ghoul in conjunction with the weapon can actually clean up the 3-5, which is really good, and he's gonna draw so many cards. Plays a Whirlwind, not for Sleep with the Fishes, no need to wait for that. We're looking for taunts, we're looking for draw to get to those taunts, and just like that, Dog is gonna be able to get himself 3 draws off the Acolyte.
Highest value Acolyte that you're going to get in this matchup. So far, choosing to play Acolyte over Battle Rage is working out very well for Dog.
Yeah, and it's also one of those things where, in the best case scenario, oftentimes in this matchup, since you're both looking to clear up each other's board, you're probably going to get 2 cards out of Battle Rage, most often. And although Battle Rage is sometimes better, there are cases where you just end up cycling it. It's like a cheap Arcane Intellect.
Yeah.
And otherwise, it's just a 1 draw, which isn't too good.
No, it can be better than Acolyte. In a lot of cases, it can be worse. So it's just really a matter of personal preference, I suppose. Dirty Rat bringing out the Primordial Drake, not quite as good as if it were the Curator here for Dog, but still nice to deny the 2 damage AoE from the Drake. And in this case, you really just need to get down your taunt minions as quickly as possible. Dog had a lot of early cheap minions and is rapidly moving towards completing his quest.
Yeah, and one of the things now is that Reynad's seen a Dirty Rat, so of course there's never a consideration for, hey, there could be another one for my Curator. Well, just like that, Dog has the potential, if he wants to seize it, to take that plan a little bit apart and use the Dirty Rat. The thing is, without perfect information, you probably aren't looking to develop more into the board. You don't have Brawl, you don't have Executes, so putting more on the board for your opponent with the Dirty Rat could seem a little bit sketchy.
Yeah, Reynad's actually going to be in the responsive position in this matchup just because his hand is much more reactive, whereas Dog has all of the minion pressure at this point. So it'll really be the onus on Dog to get aggressive, try to complete his quest, and Reynad will just have to attempt to keep up. And eventually we'll have to see if he'll be able to complete Fire Plume's Heart or if he'll just have too many removal resources and not enough taunts.
Yeah, I have to wonder though, like Dog with the Dirty Rat here, electing not to play it this turn, I wonder with a Brawl in hand if the decision would have been slightly different, where you have the guaranteed board clear, so if things go wrong and you summon out another 4-8, for instance, maybe you're feeling safe. I'm guessing a lot of it has to do with the hand texture. You know, he's got a Curator of his own, he's got the shield block, but no board clear or executes to help with that. Now Reynad's going to be able to find himself 2 extra taunts with that Curator and come back in the quest game.
Yeah, I think this decision for Dog was really just spelled out by how his curve is going to be playing out over the next few turns. He took the Sunwalker off of the Stonehill going into turn 6, likely expecting to play it, and will curve out really nicely from here. So just not necessary to play the Dirty Rat for Dog. Better value cards in hand.
Yeah, well, Curator meets another one, both golden. It actually looks pretty good. I never really looked at the art.
That's
on
nice.
That guy, but he's Super Saiyan. Sunwalker. All right, we're going to give Reynad a little bit of armor. It doesn't really matter too much. Reynad is going to be able to complete his quest a little bit after Dog, I think, if things keep going this way. but still get it completed at the end of the day, which is the only thing that matters. You need to at least be able to take those mirror match 50-50s in order to compete.
Well, we saw Reynad certainly do very well in his first match earlier today. Won the Quest Warrior mirror. It was very close, but he did end up coming out on top.
He exhausted all his coin flip RNG.
Yes, yes, he did. Hopefully he's restored some of it going into this matchup because he's going to need it. It's going to be a close one.
I quite like when they both have their quest up and they're having to vie for board, like how many minions do you want to commit to the brawl, how many minions do you want to commit to sleep with the fishes, but ultimately there are cases where you're both playing 1 minion a turn and then the decisions are kind of taken away from you.
Yeah.
And it looks like based on the amount of resources the dog has available, he's going to be able to go wide while Reynad is going to be restricted even when the quests come up. So far Dog's got the edge in terms of taunt count on the quest as well as the minion count in hand.
Yeah, it's definitely a bit of a mind game in the mirror. You don't want to expend too many resources because you risk playing into Brawl and Sleep with Fishes, but at the same time, Reynad has a board position as well, and you're really hesitant to Brawl when you have something with full health on board. So I have to believe if Reynad has another way of clearing these minions, he absolutely will, and Sleep with the Fishes just looks beautiful here. Yeah,
this is a fantastic clear. Thinking of 3 taunt minions at once, with a Curator not damaged, gets to snipe the Acolyte of Pain for only 1 card draw, and then draw 2 with the Battle Rage as a follow-up. So as much as we're talking down that Battle Rage, it is now giving Reynad the opportunity to maybe find a Stonehill Defender, pick up an extra taunt, or Tar Creeper. Sure.
And just the big benefit of Battle Rage is that it's instant card draw. With Acolyte of Pain, you have to play your minion, and then if you don't have follow-up from Ravaging Ghoul or Whirlwind, you have to wait until you're able to draw those cards. So with Battle Rage, you can Battle Rage early on in a turn and then respond to what you draw and plan out your turn from there. So it's really just a matter of Reynad wanting to be proactive and Dog thinking he can get more value in the long run from the Acolytes versus the Battle Rage.
Yeah, sure. I mean, at some point, card draw becomes irrelevant once you've reached the quest point. Not completely irrelevant, but let's just say that your 1 card a turn can suffice to close out the game. And Dog's feeling like, in many respects as well, the Acolyte is good against aggro-ish, let's put it into perspective, where at least it's a body compared to a 2-mana do-nothing. So there's this slight consideration for the matchups where you want to have a 1-3 to kill off their little 1-1s, for instance. Oh man, Reynad received an invite from Prodan. Did you see that?
I did see that.
They were not friends first.
Ooh.
What's going on here?
I don't know. Trouble in Tempo Storm Paradise. And Harrison Jones coming into Reynad's hand. That, I think, also is a nod to the Mirror and Paladin as well. There's a lot of weapon classes in the meta right now. Not so much, really, for Rogue, but definitely Paladin and the Taunt Warrior Mirror gives you that little bit of extra draw that maybe you're sacrificing from playing Battle Rage instead of Acolyte of Pain, and cutting down your opponent's weapon is just always a good thing.
Now Reynad can't complete the quest next turn, not completely at the very least. He's going to be a little bit off. He's 1 off of completing it, and this should give Dog the initiative to complete it. He's got 4 taunt minions in hand, an extra 1 in the Stonehill Defender, so no doubt Dog will complete this before Reynad does.
Well, I think Reynad's been keeping up pretty well. It's going to be quickly one after another, even though it looks like Dog may be able to get it first. Yeah, 6 out of 7 for Dog, so he's going to complete it this turn. The question is, does he want to play Sulfurous this turn as well? With the Stonehill Defender or the Ellie Armorsmith, you could then Sulfurous Hero Power as well, because he's on 10 mana.
Sure.
Maybe you get a full clear on board from that.
I think not playing it is a little bit silly, right, in a spot like this one, where it's just too good not to. And leaving yourself with the most mana possible is also a decent consideration. Here we're seeing the Dirty Rat come out, trying to bait another taunt to prevent Reynad from completing the quest, but there isn't even a taunt in there to fetch. So the Dirty Rat is not going to be doing what Dog expected it to.
Would have been nice to pull out Harrison, but in this case, not too much difference bringing out Ravaging Ghoul.
So I guess you could always go for Sulfurous Hero Power with your own Ravaging Ghoul. Like in this spot, you can kill the 4/8, you can kill the 3/1 with the Ghoul, and then Hero Power, so your Hero Power has an even higher chance of being a solid play. And he's going to go for Sleep with the Fishes. All right. I see how this is.
This is fine, too. He just wants the guaranteed clear on minions on board. 8 damage randomly wasn't going to accomplish that this turn. You still get to put down Sulfurous and deal 4 damage to face. So Dog is officially initiating the race for the face.
Harrison Jones going to snipe off the last durability on the weapon, but it shouldn't really do that much at this point. Like, Reynad can't go too wide. He's got the advantage, I guess, of having like tools to respond to minions.
Yeah.
But until it gets to the point where he can start slinging Ragnarok shots at the enemy face, being ahead on health, for instance, for now, or in armor gain, since he can do that as well, isn't going to matter too much.
It's just looking especially rough because Dog has resources that generate more resources. So yes, you were saying once you get to the point where you have your Ragnaros hero power, drawing cards is less of an immediate necessity. But if you've got them, it just helps you secure your position in this game and close it out even quicker. So we have the Discover technology.
Oh man, let's go. Tarlord, you can't hero power.
You can't hero power. You definitely want to hero power. So I'm thinking Bloodhoof is probably the likely choice.
He already used hero power, granted, so he's probably going to want to play a 4-drop this turn or 5-drop. And he's going to go
Tarlord.
for the... Okay, here's the big upside of Tarlord. It lived through a Ragnarok shot. That's got to be the reasoning here for picking.
It's a big upside.
Yeah.
And the Tarlord actually could not have been played this turn because Dog hero powered before playing Stonehill Defender. So there's your even 10 mana there with the Armor Smith in hand, and just picking up Tarlord is something to play next turn.
Now Reynad can complete the quest, he can play Dirty Rat, he can play Brawl. Reynad is actually able here to swing the game back in his favor if the Ragnaros hero power goes to a minion instead of again going phase the way that Dogs did. And it happened earlier where the opponent got the wrong shot, Reynad got the right one, and suddenly the game was turned upside down despite the fact that Reynad was slightly behind in terms of timing for the quest completion.
Oh, you have to pay attention to Reynad's health total, though. He's at 11, Dog's still at 23. So the pressure, any form of pressure in this case, coming down on Dog's board, would pretty much just shut Reynad out of the game.
Yeah, now the quest is taking a long time to be completed, so we wait until the rope goes halfway to see the taunt minion that comes out. And it is not something Reynad is particularly happy to see, I imagine. I think we're going to see some armor generation as fast as possible. Coming out here.
Yeah, and just asleep with the fishes for follow-up. This is a more efficient clear than Brawl would be because it leaves Reynad's minions on board guaranteed. So really smart play by Reynad there, thinking that one out, taking it all the way to the rope, but ultimately coming up with the right result.
He's going to get himself some armor, again, to compete with the health discrepancy between both players. And even if the Ragnarok shot hits a minion here, it's really not that big of a deal, right? Like, if Dog kills the Dirty Rat with it, meh, that's okay. Do you anticipate we see an execute on this minion just to get the damage in? Or is that ambitious?
It's possible. I think now that you've picked up the Bloodhoof Brave, it's better than just Tarlord hero power. Execute is essentially ensuring you get 8 damage directly to face, which means you can close out this game in 3 turns. If you don't pick up a weapon, in which case, 2 turns if your Bloodhoof Brave dies.
Now Reynad with the shield block, if the Armor Smith lives, if it lives, can get himself exactly 1 damage out of range of the double hero power kill. Because right now, if it hits face twice, he's dead. If the Ally Armor Smith gets to connect once, he's going to be at 17, which means that's 2 shots. Safe from 2 shots. And so he's going to be looking for a missed play here on Dog, like when the insect goes face.
Oh, it does go face.
That's good for Reynad for now. So does Reynad have to take a Hail Mary here?
Ooh, no, he does not.
That is good. That is actually insanely
good. That's fantastic. Yeah, that's good. No, that's great. The execute pickup means that Reynad puts himself out of range of 1 hero power from Dog, pushes 8 to face. Holy moly. Is it possible that he can stabilize and come back in this game?
It is possible. Dog has essentially 2 quote-unquote bad targets here. The face being one of them. And no. Ooh.
I wonder if you still Brawl first anyway. Hope that
you can execute and then go face with
well,
the
if you shield block and pick up Fiery War Axe, if he hasn't used both already, then that's
a
potentially
50-50
lethal.
Right. Shield block seems very reasonable. You've got enough mana floating around. And that Shield Slam works almost just as well. I mean, you're safe from everything, right, at 12 health. Yeah,
you could execute Shield Slam and just set Reynad to 1. You're out of range of 1 hero power or a hero power plus a War Axe.
So you would die to a minion coming out that, I mean, there's nothing that really resurrects itself. I guess it would have to be Direhorn Matriarch as a 6/9 that survives and tanks the first shot.
That's possible.
Yeah, that's one of those few fringe cases where There are so few minions that live through this.
Or if there is another Stonehill defender in Reynad's deck, Stonehill plus a 5-drop. Okay.
This is happening, but then again, it comes down to Brawl into hero power. That has happened very often before,
Yes,
and that is
yes.
why Brawl is so strong in the deck. We're not cornered sentrying here.
No,
There's
no, I
never-
don't think you, I mean, you just lose to Brawl in that case. Is it Public Defender? I think it might be. These are 3 really underwhelming picks, unfortunately, for Reynad. But he just needs something to soak up 8 damage, and he needs Dog to not have 1 damage to throw face.
Yeah, and Public Defender lives through Shield Slam number 2, whereas the Shambler does not, for what it's worth. It's a very fringe difference, but at the end of the day, you're looking for a body to soak up damage, more so than anything else. And now we're down to the Brawl 50-50 for Dog. And if he actually misses it, he loses the game.
He does.
Right now.
Unless he picks up a minion here he could play afterwards. No, I mean, he's...
Dog is laughing all the way to the
Oh,
bank.
man.
Is this really happening? This can't be happening. I can't believe this game has come down to 50-50s, man.
I can't read his face. I don't know what's going on here.
And here we go. Press the button, Dog. Do it.
Oh,
And Reynad
my
takes
God.
it. Reynad just takes
the
it.
master of the Quest Warrior comeback.
Reynad is feeling quite good about himself right now. I don't think so. Their faces are indicating they're having a lot of fun at each other's expense right now, which is great,
It's the
honestly.
first smile I've seen Reynad crack all day.
Yeah. He's like, you know what? 2 Taunt Warrior mirrors. I was behind every time, and I win every time.
Somehow live at 1 health
Yep.
and kill Dog. That was quite a mirror. A bit faster than the first one we saw him playing earlier today, but Dog seemed to take it in good spirit. Obviously, that's what you run the risk of happening when you're walking into the Taunt Warrior mirror. So he's going to brush it off, I'm sure, and move on to the next game. But that is going to be a 1-game advantage for Reynad, and he's going to have to queue up his Taunt Warrior again. So now the onus is on Dog to be able to counter the Taunt Warrior from Reynad.
Yeah, Taunt Warrior doesn't really have any like clear-cut counters aside from, hey, just go wide on the board, be a paladin, do that. It happens if you've got a quest rogue as well lined up. You can play the Vanish list and sometimes sneak in the 5 damage as you have time to get there. But aside from maybe, I was gonna say like a Dragon Priest with high value, that's another way to do it. And this is actually what Dog has in his lineup.
A Dragon Priest with especially high value, with Elise the Trailblazer. This is going to be different than the Priest deck we saw earlier today that Reynad was facing off against with his Warrior, which he did end up winning. But the Dragon Priest notably puts on more pressure in the early game.
Yeah, it really comes down to how good the Dragon Priest is. And this is one of the key things about the matchup really for the Dragon Priest is how quickly they can get themselves to discover cards that are letting them keep on the pressure, because the deck doesn't contain, in and of itself, enough tools to guarantee a solid aggressive curve. And so when you discover cards like a 4-drop, for instance, from the Nether Spite, you can guarantee a Twilight Drake into the Draconic Operative. Now suddenly the Warrior is pressed a little bit to answer your board, and that is the spot you want to be in if you're the Priest.
How about when your picks from Nether Spite are Onyxia, Deathwing, and Malygos Noxious?
You play around Ragnaros Hero Power by picking Onyxia.
Yep,
I
that's a
dig.
great point. Dog agrees.
Yeah, I mean, it's at this point, it's like an embarrassment of riches. Which one do you want that's the biggest?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, ideally your opponent will run through their Whirlwind effects in the early game. They won't have them after Fire Plume's Heart has been completed, and that's when the Onyxia comes down and just makes that hero power almost unusable.
Yeah. And now this is one of those spots where Twilight Drake just shines because it's forcing executes, it's forcing minions to die into it, followed by War Axe or some kind of Shield Slam play. So I think of all the cards Dog wanted for his turn 4, this was arguably the best of them. And you notice how he's kept the coin, right? Not only to fuel up the power of the Drake, but if he's playing Lyra in the deck, that's another value generator he can use for with it late game, which I think is a pretty important thing in the matchup.
Oh, this was a fantastic start for Dog. Reynad is forced to play minions that are just going to be sacrificed to the Twilight Drake, and Coin Dragon Fire Potion clears off Reynad's board, but leaves that Twilight Drake nice and healthy. How is Reynad going to be able to remove this without an execute?
I mean, you're playing Dire Horn, you're feeling like, okay, Shadow Word Pain's bad, but it's not game-losing bad. I can still salvage this. The issue is now the bigger, like, minions are just coming out, and they're bigger and bigger every single time. And there's very little that Reynad can do about it. His hand does not have any of those hard removal pieces he's looking to have. He's got situational Whirlwind, Sleep with the Fishes, Ravaging Ghoul on top of that. Battle Rage. I mean, that's one card draw at best in this current spot.
I don't know. Reynad's likely going to be able to piece something together with a Whirlwind Effect and a Sleep with the Fishes, but Dog's Minion's health is just annoyingly large. A little bit too big for Reynad to deal with very easily.
Yeah, Dog's got the biggest hand in the matchup. Usually, that's what happens. Priest just has all the cards, and then they either have situational stuff that they can't use,
Yeah.
or they end up having powerhouse plays like a 5-mana 5/6 that discovers a card, a 4-mana 4/9 that forces you to have everything.
And this is really the difference between the Dragon Priest and that Control Priest we saw earlier that Reynad actually won against. So that the Dragon Priest has been putting on more pressure early on than Reynad can respond to efficiently while still completing his objective and moving towards finishing the quest. So this pressure is what's giving Dog an edge early on, and just being able to fill up your hand with resources that are created from these valuable high health minions is putting him in an even better situation.
Yeah, it's like playing a value priest, except you also get the benefit of big minions on top, and that's what's fantastic. Now, 2 cards from the Battle Rage at the end of the day is going to make it pay off. Cheaper Arcane Intellect, and now Reynad not finding taunts like Stonehill Defender, not finding those other 5-drops, not finding much, really.
No, I mean, you can run in the Hatchling and Sleep with the Fishes. You kill off both the Operative and the Drake. But then Dog still has all of the initiative playing minions on board. So Reynad's going to be forced to respond pretty much until he gets Fire Plume's Heart completed.
Yeah, Dog's still able to dictate the pace of this game. He's got 7 mana with a 3-drop and a choice of 2 4-drops in his hand right now, which is going to make him feel pretty good. I mean, that Bloodhoof Brave, once enraged, becomes a pretty big deal. It's starting to punch for a lot of damage. The opponent can't play Whirlwind Effects without Execute while that's on the board and buffed up. So suddenly, Reynad's presented with a problem that he would like to give his opponent.
I think Dog can really just get a nice read that Reynad doesn't have Execute available. The Twilight Drake lived on board for so long that you have to think that Reynad would have removed it if he'd had the ability to.
Yeah. And this is going to be a brawl that Reynad is going to hope keeps him the dirtier at. Otherwise, an 8-8 would be a problem to deal with, and he is going to leave a 2-9, demanding answers later in the game. At least for now, it's just a 2-9.
Yeah, unfortunate for Dog that the Onyxia was pulled, but he likely has another Netherspite Historian in deck and maybe can get another large dragon for the late game. Even still, we do see at least the Trailblazer in hand. That's not an automatic inclusion in the Dragon Priest lists, but it's going to give him that additional value going into the late game with the Ungoro pack. No, it didn't work out for Reynad's opponent earlier today, but the decks were different enough that I think the early game could make this a very different situation for Dog.
Yeah, and now we look at the Primordial Drake. So it comes off the top. It says, usually I clean up aggro, I help you set up Whirlwinds and Executes.
Yeah, usually
but now
your best friend.
There's a 2-9 on the board. If I hit this guy, you're going down. And I think Reynad's just going to have to postpone it as a result.
I mean,
There's
if you
really
play the
nothing else
Drake,
to it.
then Bloodhoof Brave's a 5/7, and Elise is still a 5/3.
Do you expect the Drake from Dog here? I mean, it pushes 10 damage.
That's pretty good.
It wounds the 2-9.
Or you can just play the Ungoro pack.
Okay.
All right, let's see what he gets.
I'm not a picky guy. 4 cards, show them to me. What do I get? Clutch Mother. Ew. Spirit Echo. What? I'll get another Elise in there.
Okay, you got to empty your hand a little bit. Dog did not get all 5 cards from that pack, but now he's going to be able to put a second one into his deck with the Spirit Echo on the Elise, the Trailblazer. So really just continuing that value train, pushing as much damage as possible, and Reynad has not had a way to slow down Dog's aggression up until this point.
Yeah, this Execute is a blessing at this point. Reynad with nothing but AoE effects, no Acolytes of Pain in the deck, really nothing else to enable it aside from Battle Rage, no Sleep with the Fishes #2 to help clean up anything. So this was the card he needed to have, and
A natural copy of Ysera in Dog's deck, so maybe a nod to the Priest Mirror.
yeah, I mean, I think it's like the emphasis on natural copy is pretty important because you tend to not see Ysera played anymore. It's not that the card again is bad, is that, well, it's pretty slow. And there aren't that many matchups right now that give you any time to get a card like Ysera that's so greedy.
But if you do have a good read on the competitive meta, you go into this knowing that you're going to run into a lot of Dragon and Control Priest and Control Warrior. You have the time to play at least the Trailblazer and Ysera.
Yeah, I don't think that was a bad call at all. And now Reynad can take down the 5/8 if he so chooses. He's got the Whirlwind to go with that. Can then protect himself behind the Stonehill Defender, which is going to give him those taunts for later purposes. Unless he wants them damaged for the sake of Battle Rage. You never know.
Does have a second copy in deck. Without it in hand, I
Don't think you want to damage your
don't
guy.
think you want to damage it. I also don't know that it would really matter too much.
All right, we're probably going to see a Whirlwind effect. Now, whether it's the Ghoul, which I assume is going to be the case, or the Whirlwind leaves to be found. I think just overall developing bodies on the board while you're probably feeding a controlled Priest's, ability to clean up is fine against the Dragon Priest.
All right, Reynad going for the taunt train here, a snap pick on that second Stonehill defender. Just needs to complete the quest. This is going to be the best way to do it.
I mean, Dog's got options, all the options. He can steal the minion.
Bookworm is active as well.
All right, here we go. Full clear with the Drake. Again, finds out there was one execute in the hand. Probably didn't have one earlier in the game. We had a big tell from Reynad's side that there was no execute early. Well, another public defender choice.
Well, that's actually just going to complete the quest for Reynad, meaning that he still gets to play Sulfurous and Hero Power this turn with 5 mana remaining.
And gets a shot at killing that 4/8 left over, and the 0/7 keeps him super safe from just about anything Dog does, barring Shadow Word Pain and a Bookworm. And now, depending on where this goes,
Right, good hit for Reynad. That's absolutely the result he wanted. And now he's going to deal 2 mana, 8 random damage every turn. But Dog's resources are still overflowing in hand.
Yeah, Reynad's like, you know what? I got 2 Armor Smiths to Whirlwind. My armor count
That's
is
true.
going
It's
up.
off the charts.
Yeah.
All right, it's on the charts, but it's very high. And Ally Armor Smith picked up as well. There's a lot of health gain here for Reynad.
Yeah, and he's seen one Dragon Fire Potion, so there could be the assumption that there could be a second one in there. It's definitely possible, so at which point you might not want to overextend. But I mean, come on. You're still so far ahead now. If he snipes the Ysera here, Reynad has full control of the game.
Yeah. And Dog has been doing a really nice job of keeping his hand size right at 9, so he doesn't overdraw any cards. And the addition of the Galaka Crawler really makes me wonder, is it just a tech choice, or maybe is Dog trying to target Quest Rogues a little bit? I don't know. You have Dragonfire naturally. You have a good amount of early game. Galaka Crawler maybe
I think
takes
Reynad's
down
Rogue
South
was
Sea
banned.
deckhands.
I think Reynad's Rogue was banned, right? In which case, I think you're maybe targeting just the Pirate Warriors lurking around.
It's possible.
Yeah.
You do have a significant amount of early disruption for Pirate Warrior. And if you're planning on banning Rogue, then targeting Warrior would make a lot of sense too.
Yeah, we've seen a heap, like a ton of aggro Druid as well.
That's
For
true.
what it's
Yeah.
worth, that's a decent quote-unquote tech against it.
They're all running Bloodsail Corsair and patches.
That's one of those decks that you can face off against. Pirate Warriors, like, since you can't ban it and you have to ban Rogue, that's the other deck where you can start stealing wins with it. Because honestly, Priest isn't that great against that deck specifically, as the weapons get way too much value to the Warrior player. So if you're just able to deny a 5/4 or a 3/3 and get yourself a buffed up trap, you're good to go.
I mean, and we saw last round what happens if you don't ban Rogue and your opponent ends up high rolling with Quest Rogue. It can just blow you out of the water so quickly. So banning Rogue and then countering Warrior seems to be a really popular strategy in this tournament today.
Yeah, Galaka Crawler is kind of interesting in Priest, though. It tends not to be the deck in which you see it the most, as Priest has the AoE. They've got the potential single target removal. They've got pretty much everything. This Ragnarok shot is on point. 3 targets, 3 kills.
Reynad has been un-Reynadly fortunate today. I don't know, maybe he's just been putting in his time, Noxious. He's been practicing. He seems really strong. He's doing really well so far.
It's like the Amaz of old. He used to snipe everything.
Oh man, when Amaz was a Priest-only player and Ragnaros was his #1 fan.
Many tournaments were won.
Many tears shed.
Rag. And now Reynad, he's going to lose an Armor Smith potentially in this spot, right? Dog has the potential to just use the Priest of the Feast, play the Shadow Word Pain, but again, there's a second Brawl lurking in the deck. These 2 cards in hand have been there for quite a while. Sleep with the Fishes less so, but if there were big taunts, you would have seen them. Reynad floated 6 mana.
Yeah.
That's a big tell. This is potentially another Brawl.
If he had Ally Armor Smith or Direhorn Hatchling in hand, it likely would have come down this turn.
Okay.
Dragonfire just clears off everything so neatly.
Yeah, that was actually one of the swing turns I think Dog needed to come back. And he's actually got a good shot at coming back, barring Yeah, well, more taunts coming in the way.
Well, I don't know. I mean, and I'm always saying this, the Priest has a myriad of resources. Reynad is running low, but we saw it end up swinging into Reynad's favor in his last series today, and he took what looked to be an unfavorable matchup with the Quest Warrior in the mirror in game number 1 of this series. So I don't know. I'm never going to count out Reynad now. I've learned my lesson.
You got to pick up that brawl off the top, and then you're good to go. Right now, though, Dog is setting up a lethal over 2 turns, so it's looking like Reynad needs to find what he needs right now, or these minions are just going to kill him. Oh, my God.
That clears off the Elise, the Trailblazer, or you can play it in hero power. Put it up. You get a 4/8 taunt. Sleep with the Fish is a guaranteed kill on Elise.
On the following turn, and that is, again, a good target.
Yeah.
Nice job, Rag.
Allows you to keep the fishes in hand.
And
maybe get more value from it following turn with Whirlwind.
there's no way to go through that 4H without attacking with your 2 minions, so right now you're still having to go wide. I think Dog's going to be pretty happy to go wide on the board. I mean, at this point, you're still looking to close out the game at 10 health left. A little bit more chip, and we're good to go.
Yeah, Reynad's having to claw back into this game. Dog isn't under any real pressure at this point. And even if he goes wide and Reynad responds with Brawl, Dog can just dump all of the rest of the cards in his hand onto the board.
Ravaging Ghoul could come out here to set up that Sleep with the Fishes. Another body to contest and start pushing some damage. If he snipes the Priest of the Feast with that Ragnaros hero power, I mean, this is incredible.
He misses.
And so his journey ends. Well, not quite. We're not done yet, but
Oh, there's the
it is a big blow.
there's the second Angoro pack.
I love this. We've seen 4 packs in one player's deck.
Actually, I'm really enjoying Priest right now. I didn't think that I would. I've always liked Priest, but it's never been my favorite class. This looks like a lot of fun.
This is what every Priest game feels like since the expansions come out. A lot of
What's
people
it gonna
keep dissing
be?
it, but
Earthen Scales, Ozruk, Tortolan Forager, Dino Size, and Stonehill Defender.
I'm a big fan of Earthen Scales with double Priest of the Feast on the board. That's a lot of health.
You get 4 armor and 6 health.
I'll take it.
Oh, baby. And you get to play your defender, too.
Good luck, Rag.
Try hitting
Good
these
luck.
minions. Man.
And here we go. Pushing as much damage as possible this turn. No big rush to start, you know, trading with the board.
Dog is back up to 29.
Seems good. Execute is cute. He can
very
clean up
cute.
the board. You know, there's a chance here for to clean up the board completely with that Ragnaros shot. Once again, the potential is always there, it seems.
I mean, at this point, it seems to me that Reynad is playing out the game simply to see what cards Dog has in his deck. And wisely, Dog hasn't played either of those Galactic Crawlers. Those are tech choices that Reynad doesn't know that he has at this point. And, you know, maybe Reynad's playing Pirates in one of his other decks. Won't know to play around Crawlers if Dog doesn't play them. So this, at this point, is just Reynad trying to get information. All right, well, there the Crawlers come down.
There we go.
Everything I said is just invalidated.
Typical caster curse. You curse yourself
Oh,
sometimes.
man.
So now we're down to Brawl. Reynad is looking for that Brawl to help clean up the board, down to 1 minion left, and then potentially clean up everything. But that's good. You know, this Stonehill Defender buys him an extra turn or
Alley
2.
Armor Smith is great.
Oh my God, Reynad
Reynad
just
hanging
staying
on
in there.
by the skin of his teeth consistently. Both series we've seen him in today.
Every game
Oh,
now.
no. 1 in 5. All right, he doesn't look happy about that one.
I mean, you gotta lose once, right? At some point, stuff has to go wrong, and this is how Reynad falls the most glorious of ways. Goes for Dino Size memes on the 10-10.
That's a good one. That's and 10 armor now for Dog as well. If that's not just the icing on the cake, then I don't know what is. Dog gonna tie up this series 1-1. Now he's gonna be continuing on with the Priest, and we finally get to see Reynad play a different deck, Noxious.
Count me happy. I mean, that's all I've been wanting to see. I like Reynad as a deck builder. Now, the Assault Warrior wasn't anything out of the ordinary, but I'm hoping the other decks that he brought have this Reynad touch to them. There's this thing where
the little special,
yeah,
you know, sprinkle of salt on the decks,
why not?
bringing in something new.
Flavored.
Absolutely.
All these
Give it a
flavors.
little bit of zest. Well, Dog's going to continue on with the Priest, which you said you were hoping to see have success in this tournament. And, you know, Dog's living proof that it is doing well. Dog on the Priest still, and then if the Priest loses, he'll have the Paladin to follow up. Reynad now has to choose between the Mage and the Druid.
I think the Druid is going to be the choice in general that's going to be taken here, because the Mage, I mean, depending on what build it is, assuming it's Freeze Mage, you don't want to go up against a Priest with that.
No.
That is one of the few matchups which in the metagame just feel completely awful, whereas the Jade package is able to scale and compete with Dragon Priest in many respects. So based on this opening hand, Reynad is very much capable of catching up. We see the Wild Growth, we see the Jade Spirit. All we're missing now is some other Jade cards in the hand.
Yeah, based on this opening hand, Reynad is a very skilled Druid player. This is
talented.
Absolutely what you want to see in pretty much every matchup. I would hedge my bets. And the Tar Creeper inclusion just gives him a little bit more early game. It's a defensive deck in the early game because you need to make it to the point where your Jades scale to be so large that your opponent can't do anything about them.
Yeah, and also I think it's the reason why Wild Growth was coined out. Usually in this spot, you would not necessarily be happy about coining it out, but having an extra 3-drop is all the difference. Where the deck only used to have really Jade Blossom to play on 3, now the Tar Creeper, you know, gives it a bit of an edge against aggro, and just like that, you find yourself in a lot of spots where...
This is a really smart play by Dog. It's something it's a play you don't want to make. Because obviously you're healing up your opponent's minion, but with double Northshire on board, he's going to draw into really precious resources that he's going to need. Dog's got to get on board fast. He needs to build up value and start spiraling this game out of control, or Reynad is just going to have too much time. The golems are going to get too big, and Dog won't be able to kill him.
Yeah, and this is a very good draw. Like the Potion of Madness here, we saw it twice in Dog's deck, by the way. Extremely powerful anti-aggro tool, and it's also going to find some value against mid-range decks, because they all tend to play a decently, powerful early curve, transitioning into the mid-late, and the Potion of Madness lets you defuse a lot of those weird combo cards. Oh man, Reynad. Kind of tough choices here. Earthen Scales, okay, I can kill one of your minions. I can swipe Earthen Scales, I could see that. You kill both Northshires, okay.
I mean, the Northshires are definitely priority here. I could also understand if Reynad wanted to just put as much Jade power on board and roll into Aya next turn, but this is definitely hedging your bets a little bit. You need to cut down on Dog's card draw. If he is able to just draw through his entire deck, then
you're in bad
you won't be able to stop the resources.
When Draconic Operative gets Nourish, okay.
Okay.
Is that what you pick up? I assume it is, but maybe.
It's a tough call. Can you afford to give up an entire turn to Nourish, or would you rather just ramp higher with Innervate? Dog thinks it's Innervate.
I mean, you do have Shadow Visions with Elise. If you can get that pack.
That's true.
And play that pack. And play what's in that pack. It's a different game. That's a full clear for Reynad. He is going to find a full clear and have the initiative. Play the Jade Idol, of course, to play a 3-3. And is going to force Dog to respond with Dragon Fire Potion at some point, I have no doubt. Or in this case, just a Drake.
This is a sick turn for Dog. Nothing that Reynad could have seen coming because, of course, it was instigated with the Innervate off of the Operative Discover. The golems are getting bigger, but the Feral Rages are pretty dead draws for Reynad. He needs to continue to find minion value to keep himself ahead in this game.
Yeah, now the question is, do you ever double Feral Rage to keep your 3-1? I think you have to. Because otherwise, that 3-1 just leaves you with nothing left on board going to the next turn. And one of the few things you just don't want to do is give your opponent the ability to develop onto the board with no threat of trading left for him.
Well, and more importantly, I think Reynad's only alternative option was Aya.
Yeah.
His golems are 4-4 here. The Drake just chomps those down so easily. You don't want to give up your Aya value. So second Operative coming down.
That's a Jade Idol, Gadgetzan, Wild Growth.
Yeah, Wild Growth gives you a draw.
Right. Or it gets you a Nisera next turn.
That's even better.
I'll take Nisera.
Yep. Don't wait. You're still early enough in your mana curve that you can try and ramp quicker to 10.
Well, there's a way here for Reynad to seize the board back, but he's going to be left on 0 cards. However, 2 Nourishes in the deck.
Yeah.
Could help with that. There's a Wild Growth left that can give him a card draw. I mean, granted, it's not the most pleasing thing to do, but are you really in the position of choosing?
Well, 2 Nourish, 2 Jade Behemoth.
And here
Mulch
we go.
rotated out, though, so one big target that you can't kill can give the Jade Druid a lot of trouble. Fandral would have been nice with the Feral Rages, but Reynad was forced to pull the trigger on those earlier on.
Dragonfire Potion looks really sick. right now for Dog. He's got the ability
so
to
gross.
pop the Aya, spawn a 5/5, and kill it all at the same time
And then
without damaging Ysera.
You can follow up with Laughing Sister, and then you still get an additional dream card. This is
Soul crushing.
fantastic for Dog. Oh my goodness.
And to say Dragon Priest lost some of its quote-unquote best cards, I think we gained a lot. I'm going to say one thing about the Dragon Priest was, well, there's a way to stay in the game. With the fact that Dragon Priest, while losing a lot of Dragon cards, gained the fact that Azure Drake is gone. And so Dragon Fire Potion is now good as a board clear in pretty much every matchup. And I think that on its own is sufficient to explain why Dragon Priest is enjoying so much, or even Priest in general. You know, Dragon Potion just clearing everything up.
That's true. And instead of playing strictly a board-based game, now you can play for a little bit of added value at the end with Elise. You've got Shadow Visions for more flexibility with your high-value spells in the early game. And Twilight Drake's still just good. You weren't playing it before because of Guardian, but I mean, bring it back in. It's not
I'll
bad.
take my Dragon count a little bit higher. Sure, I could play Priest of the Feast, but I could play that plus the Drake and be even happier. Now, Reynad, Force. I mean, when you've seen Ysera draw 3 cards, you're already in a miserable spot. You hate yourself.
Hate your life.
You don't
hate this game.
Yeah, everything sucks, but at least you have big Jades.
There's the consolation prize. That's pretty much all that the Jade Druid is sitting with. They lost Brand Bronzebeard, they lost Mulch, but they did gain Earthen Scales. So it is still a very competitive deck, but you definitely are feeling the pain of some of these things that it doesn't have anymore. Some of these resources it doesn't have access to.
Yeah, it gains a lot of armor with Earthen Scales, thank you, but that does not help me gain board.
Doesn't help me kill Ysera.
And now there's a possibility of Dragonfire Potion #2 if you wanted to seize it. I mean, you do have 3 dragons out of all the minions you have, and that would leave you with nothing really weakened on the board. So, still gonna opt for the very, very honest, straightforward plan to go face, go wide. Druid has nothing.
Set up 2 turn lethal. Druid's AoE is abysmal. All you have is swipe.
I mean, surprise Deathwing maybe, but yeah, I don't think
That'd be pretty good here.
Does Reynad have a potential out here? He's used 2 Fel Rages, so even second swipe wouldn't help.
Wrath for 1, draw into Deathwing, innervate Deathwing.
That's the one
Maybe
way.
you win.
Yeah.
Actually, I think at that point you do win.
Yeah. If you get to push 6 and then play Deathwing, you need 1 turn push win.
Yeah.
And that would be, in fact, a good game.
If we're living in a Reynad plays Deathwing in his Druid universe, then he's got a chance, but I don't think we're there. We are not.
Well, maybe he does.
I suppose we could just not know.
Ram Druid does, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the Dragon Lord.
Pipe Dream.
But Ram Druid is a whole different story.
Now we're looking on the board at a total of 14 damage from Dog's side. So Reynad just dead on board. No taunts, nothing to stop the damage from pouring in and giving Dog a 2-1 lead. Again, that
pack.
Priest.
Oh, I didn't play the pack.
Dog.
Feels bad.
Dog.
All right, Dog going up to a 2-1 lead over Reynad. That Priest coming in hot and staying in hot. Gonna have to win 1 more game, though. Dog want to take the series. Wants to take the series.
With the Mage left, Reynad's probably not feeling too good about that. In most cases, the Mage lists that exist aren't particularly solid against Priest. Burn Mage has a pretty good matchup against Priest because it's able to race really quickly with the damage that it pulls out. But the moment you're talking about a slightly slower Mage with a lot of added value based around it instead of just a pure Hammett burn, which is kind of a funny thing to say, you're really looking at a worse matchup because Priest just keeps you at bay. The Priest of the Feast wait for your burn, especially if you're relying on Alex Straza as your win condition. That just never pans out. I
mean, if you're playing, like you said, an aggressive burn mage, you can go Mana Worm on 1, Arcanologist 2, Secret 3, Arcane Intellect. You can blow your opponent out of the water very quickly.
Sure.
That's if Reynad is playing this specific build of mage. If it's a slower freeze mage, it's going to be trouble, but it does look like he's playing that burn mage.
Yeah, the Cabal Courier can get a lot of really good spells in the format, of course. You've got still the classic mage burn spells available. You've got some decent control ones. You've got Ice Block available. In Warlock, it seems like people are picking less and less of their cards, unless they're looking for something like Doomguard and burn mage. It's like you're looking for some sketchy, I'm going to discard my hand and push damage from the Warlock class.
Well, if you're playing Warlock being the operative phrase there, and I don't think anybody is, and with good reason, Dog with the Cleric off the top, that makes this relatively hand look a lot better.
Yeah, and now Dog managed to bait to quote-unquote take at least the Frostbolt away. which makes Reynad kind of happy. He's like, you know what? Coining out this Frostbolt hurts me inside a little bit, but I have 2 books. They get me free spells.
Yeah, I feel the pain, but it's not too bad. You know? Nags a little bit, but you can forget about it pretty quickly.
You've got card draw in the hand, so you're going to be able to replenish your hand even though you have to use a coin Frostbolt on a 1-drop. Better than having it become a 1/5 on the following turn. Yeah. How do you feel about the Shadow or Death pickup?
He's probably the best of the options there. Yeah, Reynad has early aggressive potential, but I don't think there's really a point where he gets wide enough and you want to spend an entire turn playing Dragonfire Potion, or at least that you see that coming from a mile away. So at least Shadow or Death can hit Medivh, likely, because this is looking more and more like Cy Gunther's variant of the Mage with the Meteor in hand, or Alexstrasza, Archmage Antonidas if it's in the deck.
Well, there goes the Firelands Portal potential. I mean, it is the safest bet. Technically, you can say, oh, I'm going to draw my entire deck and play Kazakus, ha ha ha.
I get 10-mana potion because I'm going to draw all of my duplicates. It's unlikely. In this case, Firelands Portal is just more consistent and simply easier to play.
Yeah, no, 3/6 is contesting both minions on the board, and Reynad would have to commit some resources to it to just stop it. I think it's worth it at this point. While you have the board, just take advantage of it instead of letting it go, even though it means you're using a Fireball for this, because at the end of the day, removal is mainly useful when it comes in the defense of your minions. If you're just using it defensively and there's nothing for you to keep going face with, then at that point it does nothing. But if you can keep that board through removal, then of course it's a lot better.
Yeah, if you have burn and no follow-up, you're in a bad spot. But if you have burn and minions on board, you can still push damage, maybe make up the loss of the Fireball. And of course, there's a lot of generation for the Mage with double Glyph, double Babbling Book, so you're likely going to be able to pick up, hey look, there's a 2-mana Fireball.
You've got to be kidding me. That is the perfect answer to the Twilight Drake. Reynad stays on the board on turn 5, despite all the high health minions Dog's been dropping. And the Priest is down to 20 health. Doesn't look like a huge problem, but it's getting closer and closer to the magic number where he's just pushing 2 turns of Verna's Mage, and it's over.
And now that we've got runner Firelands Portals for Reynad, it's looking like a very, very strong hand. And Dog is forced to pull the trigger on the Dragonfire Potion and just clean up what looked to be a pretty meek board by any other standards, just in an effort to sort of reset.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, if Dog can, if Reynad, that is, can pick up something like a counterspell or mirror entity, one of those big minions could be coming over to his side to help push some damage. But in this spot, Dog picked up the Nether Spite and just gonna defuse that little time bomb.
And Dog hoping for a second shot at the Onyxia in this game.
Oh,
picks up Medivh, the Guardian, off of Draken into Operative. That is sick.
We're going phase, baby. Maybe not. Maybe it's a bit.
We're going trade, baby. Yeah, he doesn't. Well, he does actually have a lot of the follow-up if he wanted to just.
He could have
Firelands,
just
Firelands, Fireball, Pyroblast on 10. Maybe that's something you might want to consider, actually.
With Priest of the Feast, maybe you're a bit more hesitant.
Yeah.
That's probably the reasoning and why he stopped there for a little second, but
I think you definitely need to at least stop to consider your options.
right now, just like, this is all about board.
Well, I mean, you got Mana Worm Meteor here.
Yeah, it's funny how a lot of people were talking about Meteor, like, oh, this is not going to see constructed play. If Flamelands didn't see constructed play, then Meteor is not going to see constructed play.
Meteor and Flamelands are very different cards.
Yeah, but from the initial reviews that a lot of people were talking about was, well, if spot removal that dealt a ton of damage didn't see much play, then why would spot removal that deals a ton of damage see play? Well, it kills everything.
It kills 2 other things, usually.
It's insane.
And even still, it's not seeing play in every Mage deck.
Yeah.
In Freeze Mage decks, you occasionally see Flame Strike, of course, but then you still have Double Blizzard, Double Nova. Oh, Bookworm's a really nice draw for Dog.
Yeah, I mean,
he needs to keep track of that health total low.
Don't you Potion of Madness to kill the worm first, right? I think you're getting a 1-drop and it sucks, but hey, I'll take it. I'll take the clear.
Yeah, everything that you get off of Atiash is just a bonus here. You didn't start with Medivh in the deck. Medivh was never really the goal to win the game.
Oh, hey, one of the best 1-drops in the format. Not so good here, but hey, let's be positive.
It's a good 1-drop now. It officially is a good card in Paladin.
What a world. All right, Reynad is probably going to be tempted to start pulling the trigger on phase damage. But as we know, Priest of the Feast is in the hand with the Shadow Visions as well. maybe Reynad's just going to be a more cautious man than I am and would just start trading on the board again.
I'd be so tempted to set up 2-turn lethal through lesser heal. You could fireball, hero power face, and hit in the Nether Spite Historian, set your opponent at 8.
Yeah.
And then even through lesser heal, that's kill with Pyroblast. But Reynad just sticking to his game plan, committing to taking it slow.
Well, let's see if Dog wants to extract maximum value and leave himself vulnerable to burn, or if he's just gonna go. Yeah, he's gonna go for the board route. All right. Very consistent game plan on both sides, recognizing on Reynad's side that we have to fight for board. There's a potential healing spam in the opponent's hand with the Priest of the Feast being added in every Priest deck to defuse stuff like the Burn Mage, basically.
And Dog has seen already one natural fireball, a fireball generated from Glyph, and a Frostbolt.
Yeah.
So he can sort of start to pinpoint how much damage Reynad has in hand. Pyroblast is 10. If you can stay out of that range, then you should feel pretty secure because double fireball isn't an option.
Yeah, Reynad's down to Glyph if he wants to do shenanigans on Dog at this point. And Dog's going to pick up Firelands Portal. Looks like the discover choice for this game has been Firelands Portal on both sides. Just, I got a choice, I'll take that card. Really sweet way to regain board. Closes games pretty quickly as well.
1 damage off of lethal for Reynad.
I mean, do you set it up? That's the question, because a lot of people would say, well, you don't have to, but at the same time, I'm feeling pretty tempted to at least try.
If you push for lethal, you force your opponent to have the response.
Yes.
If Dog doesn't have the response, Reynad just wins. And even if Dog has the response, Reynad has more burn for follow-up. So if you're forcing your opponent to have Priest of the Feast, then they have a maximum of 6 mana afterwards to work with.
Which isn't always going to be enough to heal them back up enough. And they need to have like viable targets for some of the spells they have, which aren't always available. Cabal Chemist. All right, we could get ourselves a Fellfire Potion.
Yeah, or Dragonfire Potion, which wouldn't be good, but you could get it.
Potion of Madness.
Blood Fury Potion.
Blood Fury is not half bad.
Greater Healing Potion. No, it's not bad.
All right, Reynad's going to go for the, I'm going to finish the game at some point, game plan, which is dig for burn right now.
Freezing Potion.
Of all the things, sure.
Get the Mage one. Not bad. Allows you to shut down an attack from the operative.
It's actually really good as it forces Dog suddenly to have an AoE to clean up the board in most cases, which I think it makes the Reynad's foothold on the board, which is very flimsy right now, a lot more sturdy. And Dog has, again, the potential Bookworm to start killing a lot of those minions, but he needs to start looking at his health total and say, all right, I'm dead to Pyroblast.
Yeah.
What do I do here? Do I Priest of the Feast, Shadow Visions? Like, what is my line of play? And I think Caution says play Priest of the Feast, but there might be an argument against it. I think discovering Shadow Word Pain makes this good enough.
It's a tough call. Feast, Shadow Visions, you gain 3. Pain allows you to clear off Onyx Bishop and Chemist. Oh, he's just going to go for the portal.
And he picks up
What
a draw! And the Antonidas! What is this?
Are you kidding me?
Well, okay.
That's insane!
Sometimes Medivh wants to play with other Archmages.
I mean, I can't blame him. Tony seems like a cool guy.
Now the question is, I mean, Reynad has to pull the trigger on this. There's no way you can wait now, right? In what world?
Oh, man. I mean, Reynad's still got double ice block, so.
Yeah, he's got time, but you gotta set up a kill.
As flashy as this is for Dog, is it going to be enough?
I mean, you've got the fireballs at least. Another question, do I need to worry about Archmage? And I think the answer is no. I think the answer is I want to set up lethal no matter what. I'm at the point now where if he's got enough value, I have no board clears, I've got no comeback mechanism, I need to set up a kill.
No, you're absolutely setting it up with Pyroblast in the following turn, and it's going to have to be Priest of the Feast. A Power Word Shield picked up off the top. It's going to be 3 additional healing for Dog. He just needs to stay out of range of Pyroblast to the face.
Infinite Fireballs for the Priest of the Feast is going to make that healing pretty nice if he wants to ever go that route once a few turns come up.
How about a Leper Gnome?
Wait, Leper Gnome's kind of cool. Kills off Ice Block against AoE.
Yeah, that's true.
For what it's worth.
Maybe Reynad can't Volcanic Potion the board now if he's at 1 health with block up.
If that happens, that would be insane. That would be completely insane.
Yes, absolutely would.
Yeah, Dog at 14 health is looking, well, 16 that's the hero power, I believe.
Oh,
Make him
he's
feel
looking really safe.
Does Reynad play double Pyro Blast? I imagine that burn deck, like a lot of burn decks actually do.
Yeah, and he's got another glyph in deck. The thing is, if you don't kill this Priest of the Feast, do you win? So do you feel pressured to?
I mean,
to Pyroblast a Priest of the Feast, Noxious.
Antonidas is feeding infinite health to Dog over time with fireballs. That's all that matters
Oh my God.
at this point.
That's game.
It is
and
game.
That's match. Dog gonna take 3 games to 1 over Reynad in what looked to be a very favored match for Reynad.
Yeah.
At least that game did. I'm really wondering if Reynad had, pulled the trigger a little bit earlier, had burned face and really put Dog on having Priest of the Feast, if he would have had a better chance. But there was also no way that Reynad could have known that Dog was going to get Doomguard and Archmage Antonidas off of the Atiash. So it's just a bit unfortunate for Reynad, but he's still doing very well in this tournament. I believe that puts him at a 4-1 record and Dog at 5-0.
The noodle falls. I like that you're muted.
TJ, I can't hear you.
You can look at his face at least, if you want to.
It's lovely. It's really nice.
I like your voice. It's smooth.
All right, well, we're just going to have to interpret everything that TJ is trying to say.
So he's saying right now that he actually aerosols his kisses. That's...
He's saying right now that... What the hell are you talking about?
Chat
he can't actually talk about it.
Chat,
okay, well...
Chat knows. Well, he can talk about it, but you have to interpret it, right? Go ahead, explain.
Interpret it for us, Tej. 2 words? Illuminati? Pinky. Great. That just about wraps that up.
Sounded like cryptology right there. I didn't understand a single thing. Frodan is playing up against Tarj. Is the match still ongoing at the moment? I believe might still be. It seems to
looks
be,
like it is.
Yeah?
Frodan.
So, can we please